In the far reaches of space, the Ilari Dominion ruled over many worlds. Their home planet Valora was full of tall towers, glowing gardens, and skies that shimmered with green and gold light. Queen Elion ruled with great care and wisdom. Her people respected her and followed her decisions, but her heart had been broken for many years. 7 years ago, her daughter, Princess Lyra, went missing. She had gone on a peaceful mission near a strange part of space known as the Rift. Her ship was lost and no one returned. The Queen searched for her for years, but no signal or message was ever found. Many believe Lyra was dead. Then one quiet night, something changed. Far from Valora, a human spaceship moved through the stars. It was called the Pathfinder. Captain Neil Carter sat in the command chair. He was checking the ship's systems when a signal came through. It was weak but strange. Science officer Mia Jenkins looked closer. "There's something inside the signal," she said. "It's not just noise. There's a pattern." They worked together to break the signal apart. When they saw what it carried, they stared at each other in shock. It had a genetic code. Not human, but Ilari. It was a message from an Ilari woman. The message was short: coming home. Captain Carter knew this was important. He sent the message to the Dominion through the proper channels. Back on Valora, Queen Elion stood still as her advisors showed her the data. The DNA was tested. It was real. It matched her daughter. The Queen took a deep breath. Her hands shook, but her face stayed calm. "Prepare for her return," she said. A few days later, the skies above Valora opened as a small shuttle approached. It was old and marked with human letters. As it landed near the palace, soldiers and nobles gathered to see what would happen. The door opened. A woman stepped out. She had long dark hair and bright violet eyes, the mark of royal blood. She wore simple human clothes. In her arms was a small child, a boy about 3 years old. He had light skin, soft brown hair, and wide, curious eyes. Gasps came from the crowd. Queen Elion stepped forward slowly. She stared at the woman for a long time. Then she whispered Lyra. The woman nodded. "I'm home, Mother." The Queen moved closer. Her eyes stayed on the boy, and this child. Lyra held him tighter. "His name is Aiden. He is my son." The Queen's face did not change, but her eyes showed deep thought. She turned and motioned for them to come inside. Behind the palace walls, Lyra told her story. Her ship had crashed near the rift. All others were lost. She was saved by humans on a distant colony called Eidos 9. They were kind. One man, Ethan Brooks, helped her heal. They worked together and fell in love. Aiden was born 2 years later. "I wanted to come home," Lyra said, "but I feared you would never accept him." Queen Elion sat quietly for a long time. "He is your son. That means he is part of this family. But others may not see it that way." Lyra looked down at Aiden, who played with a small glowing crystal. "Then we will show them. We will make them see." Outside, whispers moved through the palace halls. Some were glad the princess was alive, others were worried. Human child had never lived in the royal house before. Some called him a danger. Others feared change. But inside the Queen's chambers, a mother looked at her daughter. A grandmother watched a small boy laugh. And for the first time in years, a small spark of hope began to grow. The palace was quiet, but the air felt heavy. News of Princess Lyra's return spread quickly through the halls. Her son, a child from Earth, had shocked the royal court. Some people whispered with joy, others spoke with fear. A child born from 2 worlds had never lived among the Ilari before. Queen Elion sat in her private garden, deep in thought. Her advisors had already come to her with warnings. One old counselor said, "This child may weaken the bloodline." Another said, "The people will not accept a human heir." The Queen raised her hand to silence them. "He is my grandson," she said, "and the son of my daughter." Still, she knew this would not be easy. Lyra walked slowly through the royal halls with Aiden in her arms. Everything looked different to her. The walls, the lights, the faces. She had grown used to human life. Earth had been hard, but it had given her freedom. Here, rules and silence filled the air. In the palace nursery, Aiden played with colored stones that floated in the air. He giggled as the shapes spun around him. A royal nurse watched him closely, but did not smile. She had never cared for a human child before. Lyra stood by the window and watched the city. They don't trust him, she said. Ethan Brooks, Aiden's father, had stayed behind on the human colony. He had sent Lyra with love and hope. Show them who you are, he had said. Show them who our son can be. That night, Queen Elion called for a private meeting. Lyra sat beside her. Across from them sat 3 High Council members. One of them, Lord Varn, looked cold. We are glad the princess is alive, he said. But we must ask, what place does her child have in this court? Lyra spoke with calm words. Aiden is my son. He is strong and kind, carries both Alari and human blood. That does not make him weak. Lord Varn frowned. He is not of pure blood. The people will not see him as one of us. Queen Elion stood. Then the people must learn. He is part of my family. That is the end of this talk. The council bowed and left. The tension in the room stayed. Days passed. Aiden began to explore the palace. He asked many questions. He liked the glowing birds in the garden and the talking fountains. The servants watched him. Some smiled. Others turned away. One morning, Lyra brought Aiden to the Hall of Mirrors. It was a place where royal children learned about their past. Paintings of past rulers lined the walls. Aiden pointed at a painting of Queen Elion when she was young. She looks like you, he said. Lyra smiled. That's because she's my mother. Aiden turned to another painting. Will I be on this wall someday? Lyra knelt beside him. Maybe. If you show them who you really are. Later, Queen Elion walked with her daughter in the garden. The people are watching, she said. I know, Lyra replied. But I won't hide my son. You should not, said the queen. But you must prepare. Not everyone is ready for change. Far across the city in a dark chamber, Lord Kale watched a glowing screen. He was not at the queen's meeting, but he had heard everything. He did not believe humans belonged in the royal bloodline. He whispered to his followers, if the queen will not protect our ways, we will. Back in the palace, Aiden sat near a glowing tree. The lights danced around him. His eyes followed the patterns. One of the lights stopped and floated to his hand. He smiled and closed his fingers around it. A guard watching from afar saw the light bend toward the boy. That's not normal, he said to another guard. No, the second guard whispered. That's something new. And deep in the heart of the palace, Queen Elion began to wonder. Maybe this child, born of 2 worlds, held more than just questions. Maybe he was the answer to something greater than they had ever known. Whispers filled the palace. Some people called Aiden a child of peace. Others called him a threat. He was human, but not fully. His eyes showed the color of Ilari power, and his touch could move light. In the royal court, Queen Elion met with her closest advisors. Some wanted to keep Aiden hidden. Others said he should be sent away. The queen listened, but gave no clear answer. She needed time. Lyra walked through the halls like a stranger. She felt the cold stares. She held Aiden close each day and tried to teach him both languages, both ways of life. Aiden listened, but he was still a child. He just wanted to play and laugh. One evening, a message arrived. It came from Earth. Captain Neil Carter had been sent as a diplomat to meet the Queen. He brought letters from Earth's leaders and peaceful words. Queen Elion agreed to a meeting. The throne room was filled with light when Captain Carter arrived. He bowed low. Come in peace, he said. The Queen nodded. You are welcome, Captain. Captain Carter looked around the room. He saw Lyra standing by the Queen. Aiden peeked out from behind her leg. I see your daughter has returned, the captain said. Yes, the Queen replied. And she brought something more than we expected. Carter smiled at the boy. He looked strong. Lyra stepped forward. He is, and he is kind. After the meeting, Carter was invited to dinner. They spoke of trade, peace, and learning. But outside the palace, others made darker plans. Lord Kao met with his followers in secret. This child will change everything, he said. If we allow it, our bloodline ends here. We must stop it. His group began to spread lies through the city. They said the child had powers that would destroy the kingdom. Some believed them. One day, while walking in the garden, Aiden touched a flower and it glowed bright blue. Maid screamed. He's using strange powers, she cried. Lyra came running. It's just a boy, she said. But the news spread fast. People said the boy was dangerous. The Queen held a meeting with her council. People are afraid, said Lord Varn. You must decide what role this child plays. Queen Elion looked at her daughter. Ilia stood tall. He is not a weapon. He is not a curse. He is a child who sees the world with new eyes. Another council member asked, then why does he have powers we do not understand? Lyra answered, because he is a bridge, not just between worlds, but between what was and what can be. The queen thought deeply. We will not hide him, she said. Let the people see him. Let them know his name. So the next day, the queen stood on the palace balcony. She held Aiden's hand. Lyra stood on the other side. This is my grandson, the queen said. His name is Aiden. He is part of this land and part of Earth. He is not here to harm, he is here to grow. Some in the crowd cheered. Others stood in silence. But the name Aiden was now known. That night, Captain Carter met Lyra in the garden. You've changed, he said. I had to, she replied. For him, he reminds me of something, Carter said. Maybe a better future. In the shadows, Lord Kale watched from afar. His face was hard. The queen is blind, he whispered, but soon she will see. The next morning, a strange glow appeared near the palace gates. A guard touched it and was thrown back. No one knew what caused it. Some said it was Aiden. Others said it was a warning. The queen called for her scientists. They began to test Aiden's blood. They found something new. A link between human thought and Ilari energy, connection never seen before. Lyra held her son and whispered, You are more than they understand. But one day they will. And far across space, on the edges of human and Ilari lands, something stirred. Ships began to move. A shadow crept toward both worlds. A threat greater than fear itself. And only one child born of two worlds might stand in its way. The queen stood in her private chamber, looking out at the stars. Her heart felt heavy. Whispers of unrest grew louder each day. Some people feared Aiden, others admired him. But the danger was not just inside the palace walls, it was coming from outside. A fleet of ships, once thought lost, had been spotted near the edge of the Dominion. They carried no flag, no name. They moved like ghosts, and their weapons were armed. Reports came in from a human outpost. One of their listening posts had gone silent. Captain Neil Carter brought the message himself. It was a clean strike, he said. No survivors, no message, just silence. Queen Elion turned to her daughter. Do you think it's Earth? No, Lyra answered. Ethan would never allow it. Earth wants peace. Carter nodded. This isn't from Earth. We believe it's something else. Something older. At the same time, Aiden began to act strangely. He woke from dreams crying about dark skies and burning stars. When he touched walls, symbols appeared. Ancient symbols no one could read. The queen called her scientists and old historians. One man came forward. He was quiet and old, and he wore gray robes. These signs, he said, pointing at a wall Aiden had touched, are from before the Dominion. They speak of a power locked away, a power feared by all. Lyra held her son close. Why is he seeing these things? The old man looked at her with serious eyes. Because the power is waking, and he is the key. Queen Elion stood before the council again. We face more than fear, she said. We face something hidden, and my grandson may be our only chance. Lord Kale rose. You ask us to trust a human child? One with powers we do not control? Yes, the queen said, because I have seen what he is. He is not just human. He is not just Ilari. He is something new. Lord Kale turned away, his face hard. Then you are leading us to ruin. That night, Kale sent his message. A secret code to the rogue fleet. Strike now, while she is blind. The attack came at dawn. The sky burned orange as fire fell from above. Explosions shook the city. Shields held for a time, but the fleet was strong. Queen Elion stood firm. She ordered her forces to defend the people. Lyra took Aiden to the lower vaults, but even the stone walls began to shake. Then, something happened. Aiden stood still in the center of the vault. He closed his eyes. The walls stopped shaking. A light spread from his hands, touching the stone in the air. The energy pushed outward, rising through the palace, into the sky. Above the city, a new shield formed. It was not like the others. It was quiet and smooth, made of light and thought. The enemy's fire hit it and vanished. From a control room, Carter watched in awe. "It wasn't ours," he said. "That came from the boy." Queen Elion arrived at the vault. She looked at Aiden standing in the center of the light. "He saved us," she said. Lyra held her son. "He saved everyone." The fleet began to fall back. Ships turned and fled. Only one message was left behind. "This is only the beginning." The queen called for a meeting. The palace filled with leaders from both Earth and Velora. She stood before them with Lyra and Aiden at her side. "This child," she said, "is not a curse. He is our answer, our guide to what comes next." Some leaders still had doubts, but many had seen the light in the sky. They had seen the power that came not from war, but from a child. Lyra looked at Aiden. "You were born to show them the way," she said. And across the galaxy, the stars shifted. A new path was opening, okay? Path born from fear, lit by hope, and carried by the smallest hands. The city of Velora was quiet after the battle. Smoke still rose from broken towers, but the people stood strong. They had seen something new, something powerful. The boy Aiden had saved them. Queen Elion walked through the healing gardens, thinking about what had happened. She had ruled for many years, but never before had she faced something like this. A child born of two worlds had done what no army could. Lyra and Aiden sat near the garden's edge. Aiden held a small piece of glowing crystal in his hand. He looked at it deep in thought. Lyra watched him and smiled. "He's been quiet," she said as the queen approached. "He's thinking," the queen replied. "He sees things in ways we cannot." Not far away, Ethan Brooks had arrived from Earth. He stepped off the human shuttle and ran to his son. Aiden's face lit up, and he ran into his father's arms. Lyra hugged Ethan. "You made it." "I couldn't stay away," Ethan said. Not after what I saw." "Earth knows now. They understand who he is." Queen Elion nodded. "Then we must speak as one people." A meeting was called. Leaders from Earth and the Alari Dominion gathered in the Hall of Stars. The room was large, with high glass windows showing the sky above. Light moved through the air, dancing like waves. The queen stood first. "We have been afraid," she said. "Afraid of each other, afraid of change. But fear no longer serves us." She looked at Aiden, who stood between Lyra and Ethan. "This child is the bridge we never expected. Not just between human and Ilari, but between the past and the future." Ethan stepped forward. "He's more than DNA, more than power. He is proof that we can stand together." Some nodded. Some stayed quiet, but no one argued. The queen raised her voice. "From this day, Aiden shall be known as the heir of two worlds. He will not take a throne, but he will guide what comes next." She placed a small silver crest in his hand. It held both the human and Ilari symbols. The crowd stood in silence, then slowly began to clap. It was not loud, but it was true. Outside the palace, people gathered. They watched the sky. For the first time in years, they did not look for war. They looked for hope. Lord Kale was arrested and taken away. His plan had failed, and the people no longer followed him. His voice, once strong, was now silent. In the weeks that followed, new schools were built. Ilari and human children studied together. Scientists from both worlds shared knowledge. Old weapons were locked away. Lyra was given a seat at the new Alliance Council. Ethan was named ambassador between Earth and Velora. And Aiden, still young, became a symbol across both planets. He'd never asked for power, he'd never asked for a name. He only smiled when he saw children laugh, or when he walked through the glowing gardens with his mother. One evening, as the stars began to shine, Aiden stood on the balcony with Queen Elion. "You still dream?" she asked. Aiden nodded. "Sometimes I see light, sometimes I see shadows. But the light is always stronger." The queen placed her hand on his shoulder. Then, "Keep walking toward it and never let go." Aiden looked up. "Will you still be here when I grow up?" The queen smiled. "If not me, then your mother. If not your mother, then your father. But always someone who believes in you." In the distance, a new star appeared in the sky. It was not a ship, nor a weapon, just a bright, silent light. People looked up and saw it. They didn't fear it. They called it the Peace Star. And so the story of the queen's missing daughter, or human child, and the future they built together was written into the stars. Not as a tale of war, but as a promise that even in the deepest silence, hope can return. And sometimes, it comes in the hands of a child.